Welcome back to Simply Shemane. I am so glad you're here. In today's show, we have a jam-packed show with a wide variety of guests, ranging from documentary filmmaker and activist Liz Crokin, one of the producers of Out of Shadows. And we'll have a woman who was harassed for being a Trump supporter. And stick around because we're going to get to some tips on self-defense. And I've got a conversation with this guy that you might know. You call him the Motor City Madman, but I call him hubby. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Simply Shemane is powered by Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless service provider.
Tom Kubiniec is the CEO of Patriot Tactical and is one of the nation's leading gun safety and storage experts. Welcome, Tom.
Oh, it's great to be on the show. When I got the message of being on the show, it was a surprise, and I was very excited.
Well, thank you so much. You know, it seems like more and more people are going out to buy guns, and with all of the rioting that's been happening, how many of them don't really know what they're buying, and how can you advise people to keep their guns safely stored?
I just finished writing a couple of articles on this very subject. The data shows that the bulk of the people are buying handguns, and if you're inexperienced, a first-time gun buyer, we really recommend going to a rifle or a shotgun. It's easier to be proficient with less training and less practice. If you're going to go the handgun route, make sure you get a lot of training. You can't overtrain, and then practice. Get to the range as often as you can. As far as security, our position is if there's children in the home, guns need to be secured out of sight. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that have a safe, they have guns, they lock them all up, but they have the one gun next to their bed or the one gun in the drawer. 20 years ago, I understood that. There are so many good, fast access gun safes and gun cabinets and storage devices on the market now that there is no reason not to have all your guns secured. And then we provide solutions and methodologies to really turn your home into a defendable fortress using fast access, discrete storage.
I've had the benefit of having a gun trainer, a safety handler that I'm married to, and I've really learned a lot. And I carry a revolver, and one of the things that Ted has trained me is that it just fits me. It's a Lady Smith, and it fits my hand, and I think that's really important for women if they're looking to buy a gun. For women, you got to go and you got to handle it, and you got to dry fire all the time. Like Ted made me do that so much before I even started shooting, but it's really important, don't you think?
I do. It's the decision to own a firearm, the purchase of firearm is perhaps one of the most personal decisions that you make. You're buying something with which you can end somebody else's life if it came to that. And that decision, you don't make it lightly. And I tell all first-time or novice shooters, get good advice. Talk to people to find out where the good gun shops are. Talk to the good gun shop owners. Get some training first. And I love your decision of buying a revolver. Everybody looks at the Glock, or they look at the 1911, and especially for first-time shooters, the revolver is the simplest.
Yeah.
The simplest way to defend yourself. And if you walk in our office, one of the things you see is innovate and simplify.
Yeah.
If the solution isn't simple, it will not last.
Now I see some fun guns behind you, and we have a few fun guns. One of my favorite is a pink and black zebra striped AR-15. Now I gotta say, I love it even more because it's pink and black zebra stripe.
We've got I have the honor of the fun. I've designed a lot of gun storage systems for a lot of America's, some of the biggest gun manufacturers and some of the more boutique ones. So I've got a couple. Quite often I'll make them a system, and part of the compensation is they build me a custom rifle. So I've got quite a collection of interesting format, interesting caliber rifles with all sorts of crazy paint jobs.
What's your favorite?
Be the Falcor 300 Win Mag. I think it's right up here. It's got the secure logo on it. That's a solid It's an AR platform, 300 Win Mag. It's a solid 2,000-yard gun. And I don't get to stretch it out much around here. You've got to travel quite a ways to find a range.
It's funny because one of the things that I've learned shooting is that the AR, for me, you talk about, starting to learn how to shoot with a rifle. It's so easy for me, so simple, and I'm a pretty good shot. Probably not as good as you and not as good as Ted, but I did have, like I said, the benefit of having a built-in home instructor 24/7.
One of the things that's interesting in talking to people, and this is my opinion on these conversations, a lot of first-time buyers, and there's some interesting data we can get to on this, it's fascinating, but a lot of them buy a small handgun because they want to own guns just a little bit. Buying a larger rifle to them is becoming a gun person, and they're not. And I tell everybody that platform is the easiest firearm to be proficient. It certainly is the easiest to defend yourself. If SWAT or if the military has to go in and clean out a room or a building, there's only one gun they take it. And it's an M4, which is the military version of an AR-15.
Yeah, and there's virtually no kickback. And a lot of people would think it's a bigger gun. They just look at it and they think, oh my gosh, it's bigger, it must be more powerful. And that's not always the case. It's the ammo too.
Absolutely. We recommend for everybody for home defense also, look at frangible ammunition. A frangible round is one that disintegrates very quickly. We've done a lot of testing with this. And over penetration in a house with drywall to adjacent houses or adjacent rooms, the modern frangible rounds, once they hit drywall, do break up very, very quickly.
Well, I thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you can come back on again. Your business is probably just booming right now.
It is an interesting piece of data that we look. I just finished a second article. Gun ownership, first-time buyers of liberal Democrats is unbelievable. Delaware is the lowest gun ownership state, and they're setting records. Ammunition sales have been shipping 2-to-1 for states that voted for Hillary over Trump. I think a lot of people who 6 months ago were anti-gun, gun confiscation, anti-Second Amendment, are looking out their windows and for the first time in their lives are realizing why the Second Amendment exists. And they're arming themselves. And I think ultimately, the fight for the Second Amendment, I think we're winning it. I think it's been proven in the last 3 months. I
got chills because this is so exciting to me to see that other people are interested in this. And we saw with the couple in St. Louis who, God bless them, they want to defend, and they have every right to defend their home and their property. And if you're anybody in that situation, you have the right to own a firearm. You have the right and the obligation. I've got to be here for my family. I have every right to defend my life in order so that I can help my family out and be there for my family. So God bless you for doing what you're doing, and thank you so much for being so positive and active. And I hope that you can come on again soon, and I hope that your business just keeps growing and growing.
We're going crazy. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. And stick around, everybody. We've got a lot more coming up.
Patriot Mobile was built on the values of Americans. We are humbled, recently achieving the highest customer satisfaction among all wireless providers. As America's only Christian conservative wireless service provider, you'll receive great performance, and we'll donate a portion of every dollar earned to support your values. Try a wireless company that really cares about you and your values. Call us today, mention Shemane, and get our best promotion.
My next guest is somebody that I know quite intimately, actually, and I have known him for 31, almost 32 years now. It's crazy. He is a rock and roll musician. He has sold over 40 million albums. And one of the reasons that I wanted him to come on here, and I'm sad that he's not in the studio with me, but he has his own show going on as well. And we were talking about guns and ammo and guitars and self-defense and personal protection and gun storage. And I thought, I know this guy. Ted, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry you're not here with me with all the dogs.
we will make up for it, I promise you, because we do know each other intimately, but we haven't even begun to explore the physics of spirituality. Hi, Shemane, I missed you.
Miss you too. That was going down a path of a different type of a show. But let's.
Now those were ballistics. We have that covered in a ballistic. By the way, my wife Shemane is ballistically coefficient.
Well, I learned from the best. So tell us, Ted, what are the basics of gun safety? And I constantly get messages from people saying, I want to buy a gun. What do I get? Especially women. What would you recommend?
Well, I've been really blessed in life that people that have questions like this, as we remove ourselves from rugged individualism, not me, but some Americans, the cityfied life can take away and chip away at independence, individualism, capability, that higher level of situational awareness. And even though I'm just a goofy Detroit guitar player, I was raised in a hunting family, especially bow hunting, where you have to get really close to game to make that clean kill shot with a short-range archery weapon. So that, combined with my great relationship with the heroes of law enforcement and the military going all the way back to the 1960s, I've just always shared hunting camps and backstage rock and roll celebrations of my ballistically coefficient soundtrack. And so I have been so lucky and blessed to be trained and educated about self-defense, about tactical awareness, about the firearms history and the firearms handling and the comfort level that one must attain if they're going to use certain tools, particularly firearms. So I have taken that and celebrated and promoted that in the media all my life for the last 50 plus years. And so a lot of people who understand, especially in summertime 2020, with the communist Chinese virus wrecking things and terrorists running so many of our big cities, now people who have been intentionally avoiding firearms have contacted me by the thousands. If you come to my Facebook and if you follow me around the not so mean streets of America, people know that I'm on the board of directors of the National Rifle Association for 28 years. And the instructions I give them is familiarity. You have to get that firearm, whether it's a handgun or a long gun, you have to be sure you're introduced to it before you purchase it by a person who's knowledgeable, really intently knowledgeable with that firearm. Then you literally have to fondle it. You have to learn that the only gun control law necessary in the world is that you never point it towards anything you're not willing to destroy. A gun should be handled as if it is always loaded and always ready to fire, which means you control the muzzle away from anything you don't want to destroy. And then you've got so many unlimited choices of engineering and models and design and actions, revolvers, single action, double action. You have to learn this stuff. So the first important thing to really embrace your responsibility for self-defense, which is the battle cry, if you're unarmed and helpless, you are unarmed and helpless. And bad guys love easy victims who are unarmed and helpless. So from Uncle Ted to all people who value their cherished gift of life, never be unarmed and helpless. Have a tool handy. Have a fire extinguisher handy. Have a spare tire and a jack in the trunk of your car, and have a firearm handy. But you have to handle that firearm over and over and over again in a safe, unloaded manner, and then dry firing that firearm. It's really important that you dry fire. I have a Glock Model 20. It's a 10 millimeter, and I check the chamber. I visually inspect the chamber, and even though this is just a computer screen, I don't want to destroy my computer screen, so I'm not going to point my gun at the computer screen, even though I've just checked to make sure it's empty. But you have to find out, what is your natural grip? Never go anywhere near the trigger. Never, ever touch a trigger till you have aligned your sights on your intended target. But you have to learn, what kind of effort does it take to work the slide? What is the effort necessary to open the cylinder on a revolver? What is the effort and feel and ergonomics of working a bolt action, or behind me an old 30-30 Winchester from Cimarron Arms right here in Texas? So you have to, it's one of my great joys in life, fondling hardware. You have to touch and feel and become familiar. Your goal is to be so familiar with that firearm that it's equal to the familiarity you have with your toothbrush. And when was the last time you poked yourself in the eye with the toothbrush? You don't poke yourself in the eye with the toothbrush because you're comfortable with it and you know where to put it. That firearm, we're talking life and death.
Yep.
But we're also talking fun and challenge and competition and fun with the family, plinking and target shooting, maybe do some competitive shooting or hunting or getting the perfect venison for your dinner. But ultimately, a firearm handy and familiar with, knowledgeable of its function, can mean the difference between life and death for you and your loved ones.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ted, for jumping in here and giving us your words of wisdom. You know, I always love that, and you have helped me in so many ways. I mean, I never handled a gun before I met you, so obviously I have a great teacher, a great instructor, and my goal is to help educate and inspire others as well.
Well, you are inspiring, you are very educational, but I think it's important to note you had never handled a guitar player till you met me.
I did not.
You really became
I had never handled a guitar player. I had never, ever handled a guitar player.
Well, honey, I love you. By the way, everybody, Shemane has perfected the handling of firearms and this guitar player. So thank you, honey. I love you madly.
All right, honey. I'll see you soon. I love you.
I'll give the dogs a kiss.
Okay. All right, everybody, stay tuned. More fun and games coming up.
Patriot Mobile was built on the values of Americans. We are humbled, recently achieving the highest customer satisfaction among all wireless providers. As America's only Christian conservative wireless service provider, you'll receive great performance, and we'll donate a portion of every dollar earned to support your values. Try a wireless company that really cares about you and your values. Call us today, mention Shemane, and get our best promotion.
Liz Crokin was a Hollywood reporter. She produced Out of Shadows, which is a hugely popular documentary that exposes what's really going on in Hollywood. She also just dropped a new video on YouTube called Trump Does the Unthinkable. Welcome back, Liz.
Hi, Shemane. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm good. Good to see you too. Liz, what is going on right now? And first of all, that video is perfect. My husband shared it. We shared it with our family, and it's going viral, girl.
Well, you know, the media has so viciously attacked President Trump, and you know, as most of us Trump supporters know, before President Trump decided to run for president as a Republican, everybody loved him. You know, every community loved him. Everybody embraced him. And the second that he decided to announce that he was running for president as a Republican, then all of a sudden, all these people that loved him and media pundits that had embraced him and celebrities that were friends with him started just trashing him and spreading lies about him. So I wrote this article in 2016 because I was so disgusted by what they were saying about him, and I just wanted to get the truth out about him.
Well, it's perfect and perfect timing because a lot of people, you know, it's like the Saul Alinsky protocol is like you say, you accuse people of what you're really guilty of. And that's what the left is doing with President Trump. People don't realize all of the good things that he did. Like, when his limousine broke down and a couple, you know the story, tell the story.
Yeah, so President Trump, there was someone, his limousine broke down and got a flat tire. And after the limousine broke down, he asked that man, you know, what can I do to repay you for helping me out? And he said, you know what, all I want from you is to send a bouquet of flowers to my wife. And he ended up not only sending the bouquet of flowers, he also ended up paying off their mortgage. And these are the types of stories that I put in my video about President Trump, and these are the kinds of things that President Trump has been doing for people his entire life. So President Trump used to go into his office every single day at Trump Tower and pick up the newspaper. And if he read a story about, someone that had struck tragedy, someone that, was having health issues, or someone who had their home burned down and they had no money, nowhere to go, President Trump would clip out those articles and he would give those articles to his secretary, and he would say, I want to help this person. And he would step in and help. And whether that meant, helping someone get medical care or just giving them a check to help them get back on their feet. And, there was a time when a bunch of Marines were stranded and they couldn't get back to their destination because there wasn't a plane available. So President Trump sent his own plane. The stories about President Trump helping people in need are endless. And
Yes.
he has been doing this his entire life. He's had an entire history of doing this. And, when he announced that he was running for president, all we heard is this man's a horrible person. He's a racist. He's a misogynist. He's a xenophobe. He's anti-Semitic. And it was all lies. I mean, that couldn't be further from the truth. And I was just so disgusted the way that they were vilifying this man. And I wasn't even the biggest Trump fan. I mean, it's not like I was some Trump super fan that had to stick up for him. I knew he was a good person, and because I had covered him as a journalist when I was doing entertainment journalism in Chicago. I had covered him and his show, The Apprentice. And I was just disgusted that the media was viciously lying about someone that was just such a good person. And I felt that someone in the media needed to stand up for this man and tell the truth about this man, because nobody was doing it. And 4 years later, we all know why the media and these celebrities and the left were so viciously attacking President Trump, because we know that our media and so many people in Hollywood are involved in human trafficking, they're involved in pedophilia, they're involved in other crimes. And President Trump has made going after human trafficking a priority in his administration. And we're seeing the results of that. We are seeing people like Jeff Epstein, now Ghislaine Maxwell, Allison Mack, and Keith Raniere from the NXIVM sex cult, they're going down. And this cabal of people that have been engaged in crimes against children, the circles with Jeffrey Epstein, they knew before he got elected that he was going to go after them. And I knew that too. And so at the end of the day, that's what this boils down to. That's why they've been so against him. That's why they've been so viciously attacking him. Those that scream the loudest are the most guilty. And I got to tell you, I cover sex trafficking for a living. The celebrities that have been screaming the loudest against President Trump, that have been attacking him the most, they're all involved in sex trafficking in some way, shape, or form. Every single one of them.
Yeah. When we went to the White House and had dinner with the president, we thought, okay, it'll be a quickie, 45 minutes. I mean, he's a busy guy, right?
Yes.
We were there almost 4 hours, and he couldn't have been kinder and nicer, and it wasn't pretentious. Like, I worried about everything I did and how I, held my fork and everything, and he was just, kind of old home, and it was like a campfire. It was just the most comfortable. He really asked everybody, how are we doing, and do you need anything? And he was very kind and generous. And that side of him, I don't know how he's maintained his positive attitude and his health, which is really important.
Yeah.
We've got, thank God he's been so healthy. But this is an incredible election. We are facing a spiritual war that
absolutely
it's unprecedented. I think 50 years from now, we're going to look back at this and people are going to ask us, how did you survive it? Mm-hmm. Where do you think this is going, Liz?
Well, number one, I think that President Trump, I do believe he's anointed by God, and Trump has brought God back into this country, and he's a man of faith. And we do know that this is a spiritual warfare, but this is a man of God. This is a man that prays. surrounded by people that pray for him in the White House, and there are networks of people that are in prayer groups, and people are constantly praying for this man, and thank God for that. And I believe that's what has kept him shielded, not only shielded physically from these attacks, but shielded spiritually, because I know personally, for me, covering this stuff and constantly dealing with slander and just people attacking me in all different kinds of ways, it takes a physical toll on you. But he's like Teflon. It's just people attack, and it just doesn't affect him at all. But I believe that truly is because he's so spiritually grounded. But what I think people are going to start seeing, until the election and maybe more so after this election, is that I think people are really going to understand that he has made ending child sex trafficking a priority of his administration. And he actually made that very clear. And he had a listening session discussing about that in the White House within the first 2 weeks of him being there. And we have, stories about Wayfair blowing up. We have the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff blowing up. And that there's going to be many more people tied to Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile ring that are going to get arrested. And I think people are going to start realizing that he's on the side of good, that he is saving the children, and that he's taking these sex trafficking rings down. And I think that once people realize that, it's going to unite all of us. I think it's going to bring a lot of liberals to support him, because at the end of the day, I can't think of any cause that's more important than saving children.
Yeah. Well, Liz, thank you so much. Thank you for your Out of Shadows documentary. Thank you for your video, Trump Does the Unthinkable. I encourage everybody to go to YouTube and watch it. I pray for you, and I pray for your Out of Shadows fellow producers, because you guys are doing important work that is really opening a lot of eyes. So thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to give Mike Smith, the director of Out of Shadows, a shout out, because he directed and edited my Trump Does the Unthinkable video. So I'm good at the reporting, and I'm pretty decent on camera, but when it comes to directing and editing, that is not my cup of tea. But he is a genius with that stuff, so he did a fantastic job, and I'm just very happy it turned out well and it was well received. And I hope that it opens a lot of people's eyes on who Trump really is as a person, and he's a wonderful man.
Well, you both did great. Tell Mike I said hello, and God bless you both. And let me know if there's anything that I can continue to do for you and help promote, because I'm there for you.
Oh, thank you so much, girl. You too.
All right. Have a great day.
Love this.
Thanks, you guys. We'll be right back. No matter how difficult our day is, or what we look like, or how we feel, our faithful fur babies love us unconditionally. Spending time with your pet can help lower your blood pressure and cholesterol and prevent heart attacks. Just being around my dogs calms me and boosts my spirits. Check out my Shopify account and pick up a dog-loving t-shirt or mug today. My next guest was harassed for being a Trump supporter and is now fearful of even going to the store alone. Brittany, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining me. Tell everybody your story.
So I had gone to the grocery store, and on Fridays, with COVID and kind of not very many people coming in our office, it's casual dress. And so I had worn a Trump shirt. Everyone in our office are huge Trump supporters. In fact, we're all going. There's a Trump rally on Lake Ray Hubbard next weekend. So we're all going to go. And so I'd worn my Trump shirt, and as you can see, it's kind of humorous. It's just, from 2016.
There will be hell to pay. Oh, yeah, that's so cute.
So it's great. So I'd worn it to the grocery store, and I'd gone in, gotten my groceries, and I was coming out, and I had two men approach me, and they were like, they started yelling some pretty racially charged things.
Racially charged at you?
At me, yes. And then, of course, they hated my shirt. And so they made some pretty nasty comments about that too. And I just kind of sat there for a moment because I was stunned. I couldn't believe that that had happened. I looked around and of course other people heard it. It was yelled pretty loud. And so I just kind of collected myself for a moment and hurried off to my car, got in and locked the doors. And of course that's upsetting because I've never had anything like that happen. I don't flaunt it, and I'm certainly pretty careful about what I wear and what I talk about and things like that, because I know that in these times people can be really sensitive. And so I just kind of was minding my own business and that happened.
And so how has your life changed since then?
Now I haven't gone to a large store by myself. Obviously, and I'm not going to wear anything like that again. I've learned, it's unfortunate as it is. I can't support the president that I like, but other people can do the same. But that's okay.
Well,
so
it's not okay, and it's a shame that our country has gotten to this point.
It is.
I wrote a screenplay about my son Rocco going to an inner city school and how there was a lot of reverse racism, and I feel uncomfortable even talking about that. It's sad because people are bringing up white privilege and things like that,
Absolutely.
and it's become taboo. But behind the convenience of the keyboard or your cell phone, people can lash out and say anything to you that they want. But we can't support our president.
No. You should see the hate mail that I get on Facebook anytime I comment on anything on Fox News that's related to President Trump and I defend him. I mean, I've gotten some of the just nastiest things that would make your skin crawl. And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, that people are so intolerant of others' views.
Isn't it interesting that the very people who are preaching, and I'm not talking about one specific race or not.
Right.
I'm talking more about political sides. One side, the side who is preaching tolerance, that we should be tolerant
Absolutely.
of everything, LGBTQ, everything.
Are the least
tolerant.
Absolutely.
So you're young.
I am.
You're actually the same age as my son. What do your friends say about this?
It's kind of mixed. I've got some friends that lean to more of the liberal side. And then, of course, I have some rather conservative friends. I just, of course, I talk about Trump and politics with some of my friends. But honestly, in my age group, and it's rather surprising, the knowledge of politics and the research just really isn't there. Like, I would say that I spend a lot of time researching, and I pride myself on that. I read into every candidate and read all the Fox News stories and every news story. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm not one-sided, but people my age, I feel just don't really.
Do you know about Turning Point?
I do not.
Okay, so I'm going to hook you up with Turning Point, and what they do, I'm an official Turning Point ambassador, even though I'm way old, but what they do is they help to educate young people, especially college students, and they go around to campuses when there were, schools in session, and they talk about politics and being a conservative and being a Christian conservative.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hook you up with Turning Point and get you the right people to converse with, because you need to buoy your spirit. You need to stay strong, and don't for 1 minute think that what you're doing is wrong.
Absolutely.
Because it's okay. It seems like it's okay for the other side to talk about everything.
It is.
But it's the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. And now it's like I say, it's what this has done is awakened a sleeping giant. And those of us who are conservative, we say that we're conservative, and I think that's because we don't want to push our beliefs on everybody else.
Right.
But the other side is absolutely pushing their beliefs on us. Whereas now, when you finally get pushed into a corner, that's when you're going to go, enough.
That's when it's going to, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and we're going to continue to support you and uplift you in any way that we can, and I am going to connect you with Turning Point.
Excellent.
And there are a lot of other young conservatives who will jump to your aid and, help buoy you with the proper language, because there is a certain way to converse with other people. When they say, for example, they hate Trump, ask them why. what I've found is that a lot of people can't even describe it.
Oh,
his hair or his tweets.
His tiny hands. Or, I mean, there's
Whatever.
always just something really silly. There's never an educated answer behind it. No.
So just start asking them questions, or if they say, you know, well, really, I haven't come across anybody who has a logical argument about why they hate Trump. The things that he has done for this country and the things that he's been doing, you know, we're talking to a lot of people who are talking about what's going on in Hollywood, what's going on. There's a huge pedophile ring and human trafficking that I never knew existed and breaks my heart. And President Trump is the one who's going after this. And it buoys me to know that there are young people like you who support the president. So God bless you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers, our listeners, and what you're feeling?
Just, I mean, don't give up supporting, you know, what you believe in just because someone else may not like it or may not tolerate it. Because there are plenty of other people out there that are like-minded that do agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your voice and your courage. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, stick around. We're going to do a little wine tasting. You want to do that?
Excellent. Sure.
Okay. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, I got to take a deep breath for this one because we've been laughing our butts off, telling funny stories, and we haven't even started drinking. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to see if we can tell the difference between an expensive glass of wine and a less expensive glass of wine. Girls, are you ready?
Ready.
Ready.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
so we don't know. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much for being here, girls. Cheers.
Cheers.
We don't know what this is going to be, so I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the smell so far? Any notes?
I was gonna say, I'm not really good at this, but
we don't have Ray here to guide us
right,
through.
but I do smell something. Is it raisin smell or something?
Some sort of grape, I believe.
That's a good guess.
Notes of berries.
That's what I was going to go with.
Grape is always a good guess.
Vine and
Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
Something.
We had too many conversations before
All right,
this.
so get it down. I can't take a drink because I'll probably laugh. Okay, so what do you think?
I'm not wild about it.
You're not wild about it?
No. And since
No?
we're not saying what the brand is, I
We
don't
don't know.
feel bad saying that I'm not.
No.
I hope it's not the $50 bottle.
Okay, because
Safely say it's not my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, we've tasted a lot of really good wines with our happy hours with Wild Wine Life, and this is not
okay,
my
I hope
favorite.
this is not the $50 bottle of wine. It's
Although I almost hope it is, so that I am good, to buy the cheaper ones normally.
Yeah.
Continue drinking.
Okay, so
Yes,
let's all.
Okay.
Okay, so here is wine number 2. Okay, cheers. Cheers,
right,
cheers,
cheers.
cheers.
I'll cheers from afar.
All
Yes.
right. Cheers.
Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
What do you think, girls? Any notes popping out? Any fruity or oaky, or what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like without him saying it,
You had to lead us into
Where's
it.
Ray when we
We
need
need
him?
Ray.
without
Oh my gosh.
Ray, yeah.
This is definitely a lot better
It's
than
a
the other
lot
one.
smoother. This has to be.
Why
more
do you think
expensive.
that?
This one's better.
It does. It's so much smoother.
Yeah.
So this is
So
one of those things where I always say I don't have the right words to describe what I'm drinking without Ray.
Yeah.
But the other one tasted a little like cough medicine to me.
A little vinegary.
That's exactly what Ted.
Yeah.
Ted always says that it tastes like cough medicine.
Yes, and that's what I felt like it tasted like,
So-
Robitussin or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
so
But this is actually something that I would drink an
do you
actual
think?
full glass of.
I think this one is much better.
Yeah, I really like this one.
This has got to be. What do you think, Derek? Who's got
Ashley has the Ashley.
Ashley is the
number 2 was the expensive.
The expensive wine.
We got it.
All right. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news because now we have to buy expensive wine that doesn't taste like cough medicine.
You know what's interesting, and I will tell you because I bought the 2 bottles that I brought today, and the gentleman at Specs where I went to get the wine told me that the inexpensive one flies off the shelf.
Should we say what it was? Should we say what it was?
Sure. What was it?
Let's have the bottles.
Here. Okay, so
that was
this is the inexpensive one.
Really?
The Mitchell Schlumberger Cabernet. Okay. These are both Cabernets. So
I never heard of that brand before.
That is the inexpensive one.
Summers.
And this, honestly, the Summers. So this was actually a lot more expensive than $50, and it was on sale.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So this is a 20th anniversary bottle. So it's definitely a nice one.
Well, cheers, girls. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. We'll stick around and finish the $50 bottle.
Yes, we will. We'll be right back. Stay tuned, everybody. Okay, so we are still here sipping on this wine, but first we have to do some funny pet videos. Are you ready?
Well, actually, hold on. We have a little surprise for you today.
For me?
Yes. We haven't told you about
Birthday
it.
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Take one.
dear Shemane. Happy birthday to you.
Could you tell it was me? I was masked the whole time.
Thank you so much, girl.
So Shemane's birthday was 2 days ago.
Yes.
And, well, what was the actual date?
July 15th.
July 15th.
July 15th. So we'll see you when this airs.
Right. I was just going to say. So Shemane's birthday was on July 15th. And we just felt like we needed to give her a little on-air celebration because we weren't with you in Waco.
So much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Cheers.
Oh, and this is my favorite. Just a little bit. This is so great.
It's the small cheat.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you. We are so proud to be able to bring you all of this information. It's a little bit of politics, a lot of family, faith, and fun, and we always end with something to make you smile. So on that note, let's make everybody smile. Cheers.
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 Happy birthday, Shemane.
Happy birthday.
Are you bad? Are you bad? Buck, were you bad?
Girls, who pooped in the kitchen? Sonny, you pooped in the kitchen?
Look, did you?
Somebody made it. Who made it? Who made this mess?
We'll see you next Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern. Don't miss it.